Hello everyone! Hello all you wonderful people! I'm hearing myself all over the place. Yes, welcome to my live stream. It is good to see you all once again, and hopefully you're getting to hear some melodic sounds. I could tell from, well, essentially hearing my own stream that at least my new soundboard is working. All right, and yes, Trinary confirms that he hears music and he hears the Boyd himself, the big Boyd. And yes, Preston Cox, I have drawn Pinkie Pie in a certain scientific motif. We'll be getting into that very shortly. But first, I want to give some shoutouts to folks in the chat to greet you on this fine Friday, possibly Saturday. I see Kamodra Steele. This one's going to be hard to pronounce. Connor Carteltepe. Probably saying that wrong. Ranch Hog, Trinary, of course. Champ to Stay, Jude 3300. And let's see, I said hello to Preston. There's Tiger1. Enderpup, good to see you. And Javier Febronino. Febronio, jeez. See, I'm learning very quickly that I am bad at pronouncing names, especially if they're unique or not part of my everyday encounters. Oh, hello, Gojalion91. And Rainbow Spec, Zone King 34. Shuttle Train, and Kevin. Meanwhile, I see Helsing Ghost over there. Good to see you. Over there on the Twitch. Now, yes, tonight is a night of experimentation on many fronts. So, first of all, please hold your applause. Oh, thank you. You're too kind. Oh, I'm blushing. So, pronounced Febronio. Thank you, Javier. Alrighty. And yes, Champ, this is my grand experiment for this evening. What you see in the background of Pinkie, we'll just move her aside for a moment. This is a new soundboard with which I am experimenting. It's taken over the role of what used to be a dual-purpose, both a sound amplifier and a digital converter. Now it's 2-in-1. And yes, Seth Moss, good to see you, but I am stroking my ego. Oh, and it's Norma Ruiz Gallardo. Hopefully I managed to pronounce that right. You've certainly spelled that out for me enough times. Oh, dear. But, first of all, I want to get a little audience participation. Are you hearing me okay, and did the sound effects and music sound okay? And while I'm waiting for answers, Champ, here's an answer to your question. Guy walks into a bar, says, ow. Yes, now a joke can never flop. I have an audience that will laugh at my command. I don't need anyone anymore. Anyone. It would be so lonely if that were true. All right, Helsing Ghost, good to see you, and thank you. It sounds good to you. Trinary is planting his face in the desk. Ow. That sounds painful. All right. You're right, Trinary. Maybe I should actually install a booing sound effect to counterbalance this. Okay, so good news is that this seems to be working the way it is. Because, as I said on Twitter, I reserve the right to always have something epically fail, especially where technology is involved. But the next trick is then to turn on my usual music shuffle and see if it sounds good. Let's see here. Music is just starting up. How's that sounding to y'all? Sounds a little loud to me, but then that just might be my headset. Sorry, I'm limited by what is available on YouTube's royalty-free stuff. So basically, I can't really choose a genre very freely. I just go by what they make available and try to sound melodic while I do it. Oh yeah. Not too loud for Trinary, that's good. Pretty soft, in fact. Okay, well, maybe I can give it just a little bit more. I don't want to be competing with my music as it's computing. Oh, hey, Hey, Brattlecross. Good to see you. Now, to the art. Guys, it's been a crazy go nuts week, but in a good way. But maybe I should describe. I bowed out of streaming last week because it was going to be a very active weekend, including a wonderful time talking with Leah Dabsey. Dabsey. I believe that's correct. She is part of the Boulder Media team that created the G5 movie that's upcoming. And so I had the great pleasure, it was 1 o'clock my time, and 9 p.m. her time. That's the time difference she was willing to commit. And so mad respect there. But, what this meant was that I was spending a good chunk of the weekend researching her portfolio, her career, trying to be as informed an interviewer as I could be. And it went really well. I had a ton of fun. She was a wonderful speaker and just person to talk with. We both admitted before the stream that we were nervous. Public speaking never stops being a little scary. But it all worked out really well. And I think she did a fantastic job. So, as Trinary noted later, though I bowed out of my live stream, I was still streaming over the weekend. Oh. Uh-oh, little heart, what has happened? So I'm just looking through the chats, I see stuff. But, it was a wonderful time. But pretty much an hour or two after, I then went to see some friends who flew in from Fresno, my card game buddies. And they, funny enough, they know my hometown in ways I don't. Think about that for a minute. They knew fantastic restaurants and, what should I say? Well, bars. Fantastic restaurants and bars. So from Sunday night through Tuesday, I was heading over to them after work. And it was wonderful, it was fun, but it was also a bit of a mad dash. Then, of course, you go back to work, and I swear that a holiday week always feels a little bit more draining afterwards. I don't know if it's because you're just thinking, oh, this week should be shorter, or perhaps, well, honestly, I don't know perhaps what. Or that people are trying to fit 5 days of work into 4. Fully possible. But the end result is I'm a little tuckered this evening. Heck, I got home last night, first evening I'd had without any big commitments, and I just vegetated for a minute. I was like, whew, I'm tired. So tonight, my goal. Usually I do a stream for a Patreon fulfillment, and then after I log off and wish you all a fond evening and weekend, I get to work on Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight, which usually goes for another 3 or 4 hours. Tonight, I'm going to tackle Pinkie Pie directly and hopefully have a little more time to myself this evening just to kick the feet up, recharge the circuits so that I can go back to creative work like my next video tomorrow. Got to give yourself time to fill up the tank. But my idea for tonight involves science. And so I thought it would be fun if Pinkie forced the issue a little by having she be Dexter, and by process of elimination, Sugar Belle would have to be Dee Dee. Dee Dee? Ergo, I have to make a Dee Dee outfit. Let's see. Oh no. Oh, little heart. I'm so sorry. Oh, I know how it feels when your grandma passes away. I've experienced that twice. Honestly, I don't know if there's the right thing to say other than just know a lot of people are cheering for you, empathizing, and you're not alone, even in a time of grief. So I'm sorry you have to deal with that, experience it. It's never easy. Oh, Preston, you're going to graduate. Congratulations. I mean, hell, that's the funny thing. In this big old world, there's hard news and there's really good news. And, well, I think they don't balance each other out, but they do perhaps give perspective. We recognize the bad and it enhances the good. At least I'd like to think so. That is for sure. Would it make sense if they were in reverse? No, because I think what you mean in reverse is that Pinkie be Dee Dee, which admittedly would be fitting. But then Dexter's the one trying to accomplish something, and Dee Dee is usually the one interfering. It was rare that they had a cross purpose. And so, therefore, I think in this case, it does make more sense for Pinkie to be Dexter, even though she doesn't strike me as the scientific variety. And let's see here. Gray, so let's go with a little bit of blue. I mean, obviously, this can't be a one-to-one of Dexter's lab. The body styles are completely different. I mean, look at Dee Dee. Pony heads seem very tiny in comparison to this body proportion. She's like, I don't even know how I'm standing. A strong breeze should have not snapped me in two. And let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Champ to stay. Have I ever considered putting the chat on slow mode for a stream so people don't spam me with the same questions? Honestly, one, I don't even know how to do that. I'm not sure that's a feature unless I like buy into a premium, as YouTube is fond to encourage me. But I'm okay. Here's the thing. If you ask the same question like twice in an evening, because I may have missed it the first time, I don't resent that at all. It's when you ask the same question like 3 times in a row in the span of 2 minutes. It's like, okay, now you're a spammin', and you gotta go into timeout. Now, over on the Twitch. Oh, hello, Frostbite1995 and Furcorn Nick, and Noah123012, and Blue Griffin. Good to see ya. Alright, let's see here. Dee Dee's ballerina shoes. I don't know if there's a special term for those. How are we gonna do this? Yeah, we're gonna cheat a little. Because these things are supposed to be, well, very tight leg. So, all I gotta do is join these. Boop. Aim at a little bit of a curve. And boop. Oh, Trinary, you continue to spoil me. Thank you. Welcome, Angela Crummel. Good to have you here. And yes, Frostbite, you have now made a parody of Dexter's Lab for me. Haha, my secret plan comes to fruition. Now, let's see here. Whoop. Get this properly layered. There we go. Let's see. In Silver-Quill's laboratory lives the shippiest pigeon you've ever seen. But lightning blows his ships through smithereens. There is doom and gloom while Silver goes bloom in Silver's lab. You all hung in there through my singing. I salute you. Although I'd like to think I'm a little bit of Dexter and Dee Dee rolled into one. That, you know, I drive everybody nuts, but I could say something smart now and again. Oops, there we go. 1 and 2. Let's see here. Oh, wait, I totally did that wrong. John, I too miss my regular videos. I've been struggling. Life knocked me for a good 1-2 punch at the start of this year, and went on for the better part of the full quarter, almost half. And I'm off the beaten track with my videos. I will, however, make more. I have not given up, but at the same time, I don't want to lose momentum on what I've got right now, and that includes doing comics. The new episodes may be over, but Pinkie Pie says goodnight. Can continue. Yes. Oh, little heart. Have a good evening. We'll be rooting for you. Just take it easy. Angela, how did I feel when Pinkie cloned herself? I was like, oh, the madness is spreading. However, there's one thing I never heard people comment on with that there mirror pool. Even when Pinkie has to tell her clone to calm down, how should I put this? The clones don't seem to be an actual copy of Pinkie. They're not interchangeable. All of them just want fun. And think about a mirror for a minute. It's not a copy of you. It just reflects what you're expressing at that moment. So as her primary goal was fun, that's all the clones care about. But Pinkie, the real Pinkie, is thankfully more emotionally diverse than that, as shown when she got depressed. And there's no question, I understand the humor of somewhat grimdark that the real Pinkie got sealed in the pond, but no, that was our Pinkie 100%. Let's see here. Gojaline, my favorite movies from the 80s. There's a lot. I mean, Ghostbusters, Transformers the movie, Caddyshack 2. I actually saw Caddyshack 2 before I saw Caddyshack 1, and I was laughing all the way home. And since I was, not of driving age yet, my dad had to put up with that laughter. I'll be honest, I loved the Gopher most of all, but I was a little kid. Let's see here. There we go. One DD leg. What would happen if I used the mirror pool Tromladov? I would probably blow up the universe. Oh, Frosty Bite, you've condemned the internet to hearing my song. That's cruel and unusual, mostly unusual. Let's see. Oh, I like how my pace there actually matched the music beat. I don't quite have enough faith in my skills to draw to the beat of music, but that's a unique skill I've witnessed on several occasions. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten to see a public painter. Oh, I forgot to mention one other addition I made. I bought a boom. So, whereas my mic was once on my desk, it is now hanging over my monitor, pointed directly at my mouth. Hopefully, I'm coming through a bit more strong. Oh, yes, Gojalai, never-ending story. Land Before Time. Oh, jeez. I can say all these Land Before Time sequels that came out when I was a teenager. It's like, what? That was my childhood. Get your own. Then again, I guess My Little Pony fans could say otherwise. Okay. Yes, I'm forgetting the most important thing. Sugar Belle, we're gonna give you a bit of a makeover. Actually, this could work on its own. Give it a little bit of recognizable Sugar Belle and a little bit of the new. Yes, I like this idea. Thank you, Reaper X. I appreciate the compliment. And what would I do if Bliss cloned herself, Thaddeus? I'd run. Very fast. Honestly, going back to the MLP-Silver-Quill, I won't lie that there are times I wish I could have, like, maybe not a full clone, but, you know, a little Kagebushin no Jutsu. Just make a shadow clone, and one... I think I would need 3. Maybe 4. Yes, 4. 1 goes to my day job. 1 works on the videos. Another works on either other videos or artwork using my laptop. And the real me, well, decides. But I would likely play some video games for a little bit. Or maybe work on the videos myself, I don't know. It would be a grand solution that at the end of the day, supposedly, you dispel the clones and you gain all their experience. The only problem with that is that I would likely go insane from experiencing 3 work days all at the same time. Think about that for a minute. I'm surprised Naruto didn't go a little loopy from all those shadow clones. Ooh, you want to get really dark? What if every time one of those shadow clones gets killed or, you know, dispelled, what if he remembers the death? Ooh, darkness abounds. Welcome to Edge Quill. Super Edge. I'm looking over this and I'm thinking, not quite. I need to make these poofier. I mean, Dee Dee has pretty poofy pigtails. So full puffification of the poofy pigtails. Let's see here. Just scrolling through the chat real quick. Oh, hello, dude. Would I make a steamed hams parody? Ah, yes, the Simpsons. Honestly, I'd need it to be more in service of something than just, oh, he's doing the steamed hams, but with someone else. One of the legit criticisms I've heard of, like, TF2 and Alice Anarchy is that we basically reenacted some of our favorite skits. Heck, even for one Halloween, we did Pony Python, which was just reenacting scenes of Monty Python. And I get that if people felt like that was just too much of references and not enough original humor. If I'm going to make a parody, it needs to at least be in the service of a critique. Or some message beyond just, oh hey, remember that? Yeah, me remember. See, something like that. Let's see here, shrink that. Whoop, shrink this down a little. But so far I'm pleased with how this soundboard is working out. The only big unknown, and this is why part of why I didn't get a guest for this evening. I thoroughly enjoyed BabsCon, I thoroughly enjoyed being with my friends, but there comes a point where you're just a little peopled out. And so sometimes just a little bit of honoring the introvert. But also, if this thing didn't work, I didn't want to ruin a guest's appearance. I did try using the soundboard in a Discord call with my bud, the illustrious Q, but it was a weird thing. If I could hear him, he couldn't hear the sound effects. If he could hear the sound effects, I couldn't hear him. I did something wrong, and I'm not sure what. So I'm going to be experimenting with that more, because I would like people to be able to hear all the sound effects, everything. And just as a, what do we got? You know, if I have a joke that bombs, I could always play the crickets. Or a sad trombone. I think I'll keep that one for sure. Apparently there's also a harp. Which is what you do when you have imagination. But then there's also apparently scary music, which, I don't feel like scaring anyone right now. Let's see. Actual Aspie, I like the idea of an alternate silver. Platinum blade. Let's see here. Yes, Helsing, I can program the board. I figure, one, this sort of reminds me of, hey, maybe you should get back to finding a theme song. Right now, that music you heard at the beginning was just what's pre-programmed on the board. I would rather have something a bit more personalized. And maybe I can do 8 sound effects, plus I have my handy-dandy sound boxes. Now, Frostbite, you mentioned that they explain Naruto does remember this. He remembers that the clones did get kaput skied, but does he remember how it felt? See, there's the dark thread. That's where you get a bit of the nightmare fuel. Behind the... Yes, I think behind the ears works better. Maybe... There we go. There we go. Then all I have to do is copy and flip. And boom. Although, apparently... There we go. Double boom. Rain boom. There we go. Okay. Let's go here and take that away. And just a little fix around the color. Would I try stealing Gilda from Voice of Reason, Preston? No, I would not. Gilda is still not my favorite character. She's, well, okay. Lost Treasure of Griffinstone showed her on the road to change. Other episodes showed her being a positive force. Though that was sadly the end of her speaking roles. But she's Voice's favorite character. I have my own. Whoops. There we go. There we go. I think that, well, man, I keep wavering on this point. I think this needs to be just a little darker to imply that it's in the background. There we go. At least that's some distinction. So there we go. Dee Dee honored in pony form, though Sugar Belle is not quite so flighty. Riverdale, good to see you. You're not late, you're perfectly on time. Ah, Seth, I can program the Doomflag. That's what I forgot to do this week. While talking with my friends, I learned a couple things, including that one of them has a Doomflag and keeps it at his work desk. I should bring that in to work. A Doom flag for all my coworkers, just when they're having a tough day. Just wave the Doom flag, wave it. Does Dexter Pinkie remind you of Kichi's? Maybe a little. I tried to make it mimic Dexter's Lab. So now I need to pull up a Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight comic so I can make with the drawings. And since, you know, the format is there, I've done a few starring Pinkie and Sugar Belle. Here we go. Trinair has the right of it. Sorry, Cotton Lum. Doom Flag is not necessarily in the spirit of Doom the game. A Doom Flag for me is that it signals you've just said or done something that is going to bite you quite thoroughly. Therefore, you've inspired your own doom. Doom! Now, let's see here. So, Cat Lover, having seen me put together the models, now I'm going to start working on Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight. Let's see here. So, I'm going to copy this frame because it's actually quite useful. See, one of the things I like about vectors is that you can repurpose them a lot easier than pixelated art. Like I would make in, say, Photoshop or Corel Painter, or I believe it's called GIMP. I'm not sure what they were thinking with that particular joke. Also, portable. Yes, happy Pride Month. And Preston, yes, I probably would snap at Chancellor Naysay given the opportunity, especially when he was in his less educated phase, which is a bit ironic given his profession. Okay, yeah, I forgot. The background on this is pretty intensive, so I need to be very generous in my saves. Save, 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 save. Let's see here. I'm just checking out the comics. The Imperial Quill. Wait, that's, Inquisitor. Yes, that is a Warhammer reference. Actually, one of the greatest discoveries from having dinner with my buds, I learned of something glorious. It's called the Cocktail Codex. The minute I heard of this book, I immediately pictured a space marine striding across the battlefield, a bolter in one hand, a martini in the other. And I thought, how could this not be a thing? I don't care if it's Loyalist or Traitor or Chaos Legion. Surely someone out there has dreamed of a Cocktail Codex chapter. Ah, yes, Michael Epps, I am aiming to go to Everfree Northwest this year. Waiting for word on, well, I think they were still in consideration of a lot of things, but I would like to go there. I would like to see people in person again. I so enjoy talking with all of you through these chats, but there's something for the say of the energy rush and slight adrenaline of getting to see people at an actual convention. Here you see an example of why it takes long to get a comic together. Getting all these pieces to work the way they're supposed to. Meh. Let's see, and I also need my pony parts library. Ah, Sniper Nighter. Let's see here. What do you think is a good or appropriate for a reboot franchise that, and what doesn't work is not good? You know, I was actually kind of wondering about this earlier. G.I. Joe. It's tried for several reboots, reimaginings, but none of them really seem to stick. And I think a very real part of that is, at least from what I remember of my childhood, we have a more strained relationship with our military. G.I. Joe is based very simple on, oh, the Joes are good and they're fighting for freedom. And now there's a, well, I think people may be right to ask, what are we fighting for really? So you can't just have G.I. Joe running off to another country and doing whatever they please, as they did in the G1 cartoon. I especially enjoyed G.I. Joe Resolute, which was, okay, it was still a bit grandiose in its setting and characters, but it was also a bit more, well, willing to portray war in violence. You know, aside from some stormtrooper level shooting from Cobra troops, Joes could actually aim to kill. But let's see here. So, you know, I laid into Inhumanoids in a review, basically because it had a lot of bad messages mixed in there, but the core concept and a lot of the creative, the fantastic ideas would work really well. So I think that is prime material for a reboot. I think with the dedicated team, someone, especially a team that appreciates horror, they could do some really amazing and quite frankly terrifying stuff with that. Now let's see here. What wouldn't work for a reboot? I'm trying to think of things that were so, I don't know, so dedicated to the 80s, so encapsulating, or well, perhaps the real thing is what was so harmful that it could never be rebooted. It's just best left forgotten. Honestly, it's kind of rare. I wonder. I mean, there were some properties that never really worked, or never really caught on. Let's see, there was a cartoon by Hasbro called Robotics. It was trying to get in on some of the Transformers fame, but the toys could not live up to it. But, well, even then, you could play with the ideas some more. Wait, now suddenly I'm envisioning stories for how robotics could make a return and how you would make a change. Oh. Although I do remember there was a cartoon about Hulk Hogan and the wrestling stars at the time. Hulk Hogan leading the sort of the good wrestlers, the faces, and Rowdy Piper leading the bad ones, the heels. And that was part of Saturday morning cartoons for a while. I don't know if such a cartoon could work right now. Oh, as neither would like something like Chuck Norris's Karate Commandos or Mr. T and the T Gang. Those were cartoons based on distinctly 80s heroes who might be recognizable, but, well, in an era where you can Google search everyone, including your heroes, I feel like that really undermines wanting to make a cartoon about an actual actor. I think, honestly, the last one I remember that kind of worked was Jackie Chan Adventures. But, well, that might have been the last hurrah for that sort of thing. Oh, Red Gnome 110. Of course, Gem of the Holograms could be rebooted, modernized. If anything, well, okay, the movie Gem and the Holograms was a disaster. So, whatever you do, don't go that route. But the idea of tackling an online persona versus a real-life, everyday person, that would be interesting to explore through Gem and the Holograms. A hologram specifically being, how shall I put it? A hologram is meant to be an illusion, something that is faking the appearance of 3D. Although I'm sure a lot of folks have seen the Hatsune Miku pony that is going to have a figure released. I wonder how Gem would handle a world where Vocaloids are more a thing, where an AI can be an entertainer. And think about the challenge involved in that. A Vocaloid doesn't get tired, can't get drunk before a show, can't say the wrong thing. There's something to be said that in some ways AIs would make the better celebrities. At the same time, there's something very insincere about it. Frostbite, who would Mandark be in this Pinkie Sugarbell situation? I'm not entirely sure. Probably Trenderhoof? Who's sufficiently wimpy, but trying to be threatening? Well, Trenderhoof wasn't trying to be threatening. Actually, if we're trying to play on these things, would bulk biceps be a good Mandark? Sort of the opposite of what you'd expect. Oh, Hugo 5863. You want Scrappy-Doo to make a comeback? Scrappy-Doo. It's almost cliche at this point to make I hate Scrappy-Doo jokes. There was a comedy bit by Eddie Izzard. I don't know if you all know of Eddie Izzard. It's a cross-dressing stand-up comedian. And I emphasize cross-dressing. I'm not sure if that qualifies as drag queen, but cross-dresses, still heterosexual, but likes to dress up in women's clothing. And he does full shows. He identifies as male. And he does all these stand-up bits, so he has a lot of fun. I have one of his stand-ups on my phone. And he actually talks about one of the great American creations, one of the tributes of our literature, is Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. I mean, he said, America, we have strained relations. You go and you say, oh, I'm American, and then you say, Scooby and Shaggy? And no matter what country, they will say, oh, Scooby and Shaggy, yes, yes, and everyone's happy again. So, when we get back to travel, there's if you're ever worried about how you're being received, just say Scooby and Shaggy, and people will know what you're talking about. And the thing Izzard compliments is that Scooby and Shaggy are cowards, and we root for them. They're the guys for whom we watch. They're the ones we love to see in these. And honestly, I think the reason Scrappy is he's so disliked is that Scrappy forced Scooby and Shaggy to be brave. He took away that sort of comical cowardice and forced them to be the brave ones. And I think on a certain level, people resent that, as you're kind of taking away what made Scooby and Shaggy so much fun. And Preston, Daphne and Velma and Freddy, they've gotten way more characterization in more recent works. I mean, Fred especially is a very different character from who he used to be. Daphne, I can understand we all had plenty of cartoon crushes. But back then, I don't remember much personality about her back in the day. Oh. Who would be Shaggy to my Scooby-Doo? Anthony C. I'd be Scooby, he'd be Shaggy. Yes, Gojalan, going back to Gimp as I don't know why they chose that name. I don't know if it even had that context back then. Anyway, here, still gonna use the old soundboard. There we go. And people will enjoy it. Yes, that's right. Even if people are saying, oh, that was shameful, I have my canned laughter to console me. Welcome, President Mike. Glad to have you here. Let's see here. There was a crossover between Supernatural and Scooby-Doo. Well, I don't doubt it. Scooby-Doo was crossing over with everybody. He's crossed over with Batman Brave and the Bold, and he's also crossed over with Adam West Batman. I think he crossed over with the Addams Family and Mr. T and Sandy Duncan. I don't know if you guys remember Sandy Duncan. She was one of the voice actresses for the original My Little Pony. Scooby-Doo is like chocolate. He goes with just about everything. Even when you think it wouldn't work with chocolate, it does. Or, oh my gosh, is he bacon? What isn't enhanced by bacon? I mean, think about it. You put chocolate on a salad. It doesn't quite work. Bacon in a salad? Bacon with chocolate? Oh my God. Oh my god. Preston, would Cartoon Me ask out Daphne Blake? Yeah, it's always possible. Now that would be a weird crossover. Silver-Quill meets Scooby-Doo? Like for realsies? Yeah, Zed Millennium On. Also love the Digimon reference. Never got to see Zed in the show. Bacon with ice cream. Weird as it is, I'm sure there's a way to make that work. I'm honestly surprised Ben & Jerry's hasn't tried something. Ah, Champ, have I heard? I have seen VeggieTales. I don't know if I have a favorite character. I haven't seen it often enough. I had a roommate who was big into VeggieTales, and the theme song would play every time he started up his computer. I got kind of tired of that theme, to be honest. Let's see, but... VeggieTales. I mean, I mostly knew Joe and the Whale. So the caterpillar in that one was kind of fun, though these days I'm concerned he'd be seen as more of a stereotype. Let's see here. Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a sec. So I guess I'd have to say the caterpillar is my favorite character, but honestly, that's due a lot to not knowing much beyond the movie. Let's see here. Sniper Nighter wonders, some people who enjoy nostalgia would like to have a global restriction we have now to bring back the glory days of media. Do you think should allow that media? Honestly, I have not heard this argument so far. Would like to have the global restriction we have now and bring back the glory days of media. Well, here's the thing. We've had the global restriction of ban on travel and quarantine. And that was for good reason. Very good reason. But here's the thing, our media still connected us. We still had people making YouTube videos and Twitch and Vine and, well, any number, Facebook. In fact, for a while, Zoom was the way even my family and I communicated for a little while. Eventually, things got more if we could do socially distant backyard gatherings at my parents', but we kept our distance. I guess it depends on what you call the glory days of media. Truth is, I think we over-romanticize the past. You say, "Oh, I remember good old days." Well, it might have been good for you. How was it for other people? And so, I would say the thing about nostalgia is that it's fun. It's fun to reminisce, but it can also be very destructive, toxic. So I would say don't worry about the glory days of media. Worry about how can you make the most of the media we have today. What's the most positive influence you could have with it? Champ to stay, you're asking for a hint of where the ponies went? Well, that would... Okay, I'll give a very frustrating hint. People have speculated in the comments of past comics, and one of them is very close to the mark. See, that's so frustratingly vague. Oh, Crystal 20 Delight, how were some of my first days of lockdown? Confusing, scary. I didn't even have a mask at the time. I wasn't sure, and then when I try to go onto Amazon, no luck. Work was closed. Gym was closed. Everything was shut down. And I just thought, what am I supposed to do? I was very much adrift, and I did not like that feeling. I poured some work into videos and the like, but when I first started jobs out of college, my social life really shrank to the point where I was basically going to my job and going home and not really being creative or expressive. And as a result, I became depressed. I really did not do so well. So what am I getting here? COVID was, can I even say that? Quarantine, I guess, was a forced return to that, and I didn't like the feeling. I was worried, I was nervous, and I was very confused. So when I at least got a mask and work started doing remote, that was at least something. It gave focus. Now, someone else asked, how am I doing with my crew? We're getting back together. Who asked that? Well, I'm sorry, I don't see that comment right away. But we're doing well. I've begun seeing my friends again. We celebrated Kaiju no Kami's birthday last week, and that was a delight. I've gotten to hang out with them, and it just feels good. It feels natural getting back together with folks. I'm still trying to be cautious and responsible whenever. I admit, though, it feels a little weird going anywhere without a mask now. It's not required where I live if you've been vaccinated, which I have. Unfortunately, there are times where I'm like, oh, should I? Heck, I walked into the restaurant for that birthday celebration without a mask and stopped like, oh, geez, but no one challenged me. I don't know where we are in things right now. There's always this feeling of, is it too good to be true? You know, speaking of birthdays, however, I want to give a shout out to Wolfie Star 010. It is Wolfie Star's birthday tomorrow, so wish very heartfelt happy birthday. Oh, Zed Millenniumon is in the new Digimon. The reboot, I'm assuming, that I hear is criticized because it gives Taichi a bit too much focus. Even more so than the original. But, knowing that Zed is in there, that'd be curious to see. Let's see, Preston, does Firebrand still get mad at me? If I make a pun, sure. I mean, that's kind of our comedy bit. In fact, again, this is something I realized while talking with friends. I've realized two things about my friends in general. Usually, they are far more refined tastes than I. Especially in food, like my vending hall buds and my card game buds. They are connoisseurs of all things, especially food and spirits. They know far more than I. And one of my best friends, she has introduced me to so many restaurants here in our hometown. I am boggled, I never knew. So that's something I just know, that my friends have better taste. The other thing I've realized is that I provide a bad pun, they get really frustrated or lament, and that's part of our relationship. I know I'm with a good friend when they say, I hate you, and I know that it's an endearment. So let's see here, just a little bit more refinement of the Pinkie Pie. Pardon me as I go silent. Usually I kind of holding my breath as I drag these anchor points. One other thing I'm doing this evening is putting a Wacom tablet to good use. I used to have a small tablet that was not very practical or useful. Sweetie Bloom and Auntie got me a video tablet. It's on screen, but I wasn't sure, because then we have my face pointed downward, not looking at the chat and not talking to the mic. So I have a medium Wacom tablet now, and it's quite wonderful. I even use it at work. Alrighty, pardon me, I'm just gonna check the Twitch. Frostbite, why did the coffee call... Yeah, why did the coffee call the police? Because it got bugged. Let's see here. Any thought... Oh. Frostbite also wonders, any thoughts on the ever-growing popular YouTube series Hello Boss? You know, I admit I've only gotten to see the first episode. I thought it was really fun. Sort of that enjoyable dark humor. But I'm afraid I don't have greater thoughts. I do love that there's a couple and how much fun they have and these wonderfully conflicting personalities. And you know, they do a good job of making you not like a certain character. And because you don't, and then you're okay with them having horrible things happen to them. Even the kid. Goodness, that was... It's a weird thing to say. I laughed when they blew up that character. I don't even want to say the words. Let's see. Pokemon Fire Eevee. If you had elemental powers, what would it be? Oh, elemental powers. I mean, having the speed of the wind would certainly save on commuting. And maybe flight? Ice powers I would never lack for a cold drink. Although would I suffer under fire in that case? I feel like an earth power would cause too much destruction. You know, if I cause an earthquake with every step I take, that's not good. Pardon me as I just close things up. Kendallonian, I don't know what's going to happen with the TF2 Analysis Anarchy. I'm not in communication with that project anymore. I'm in communication with the people, but not the project. Let's see here. I think I missed a pose for dear old Pinkie. Riverdale. I want to tell you a joke about paper, but never mind, it's terrible. I love that the sound effect there actually tapers, like the audience is kind of just dying down on the laughter a little. It's not a hard cutoff. That's one of the pre-programmed effects. I wonder, I have applause for my ego, laughter for my canned jokes, crickets if I ever want to accentuate the awkwardness. I mean, I have the boing sound effect on the sound machine. I don't know if I want to get rid of that. Minor, I make no promises. I've got the air conditioning going in my home so that my computer has at least some extra airflow around it. But if my computer should ever conk out or the stream suddenly goes quiet or just stops, head on back to my YouTube channel. I will be starting a new stream forthwith. And henceforth. Oh dear, I've removed one of Pinkie's legs. Whoop. Now it's kind of funny, while I'm doing all this, I have the script running in my head of what they're saying. But I realize that to the audience, this must seem very, very confusing. At the same time, I don't want to give away the comic, as I hope to post it later tonight. But here, sometimes it's better to reset to 0. Pokemon Fire Eevee. Why is auto-saving for games a bad thing? Because you don't get to choose what your save points? I mean, I'm always a fan of games that have a quick save, but also a save that's really, well, you know, the latest checkpoint. That way you can replay your favorite moments without sacrificing your progress. Okay, Pinkie in this panel is just suggesting the scientific approach, and Sugar Bell knows Pinkie and science should not mix well. There are some things you just don't mix. Let's see here. Seth Moss, the most insectoid sport is cricket. Nicely done. Although, as I recall, the audience for most crickets is... Actually, has anyone ever been able to fully explain the rules of cricket? Because it's one of the running jokes of my life that no one understands how cricket actually works. Okay, I bet right now with this, it look. Oh wow, this looks like Sugar Bell's pondering murder. The Miner, I have seen Stuart Little too, and I found it fun, but as one critique goes, it's basically just an excuse to dress Stuart up in funny outfits, or cute outfits, and have a little skit going. There's not a whole lot. Although I did like at the end, as we got to the climax, the silver lining motif. You know, I keep saying to myself, I shouldn't have waited so long to build a pony pose repository. This is actually much more helpful. Here we go. Come on. There we are. Ah, layering. It's such a thing. It can be actually kind of hypnotically beautiful at times, but it can also be very frustrating. There we go. Sugar Bell looks high, says Gojaline. Let's see here. Now, Inquisitor. If I Googled everything I didn't know, I'd have nothing to joke about. And neither would most stand-up comics. I mean, we just gotta give ourselves permission to sometimes delight in our ignorance. Over... how shall I put it? I don't want to say trivial or non-vital, but matters that where ignorance hopefully won't hurt anyone. Let's see here. Now, Champ, okay, what? I have been hearing the term gated communities. I'm thinking one thing, I think you're asking something else. So... I don't really know how to approach that question because I feel like I'd be addressing the wrong topic. I hear about gated as in fandom communities or, well, actual physical communities. Let's see here. All right. Now, at long last, I can bring in my Dexter Lab ponies. I don't know why I have that Applejack. Oh, it's from when I drew the pie. Let's see here. But I don't need that. That's just more drain on memory. Yes, I knew what you were talking about, Inquisitor, the rules of cricket, but I can't But I do mean it. Sometimes you just sort of have more fun not knowing and making fun of it. Like, the rules of cricket are often defined as unobtainable. It's kind of the running joke that you don't know what they're supposed to mean. What was it? There's a TV show, had 2 seasons called Sports Night. And I'm not really much of a sports fan, but it was a really well done show. And one of them was trying to announce this big news from Britain about cricket. And the veteran sportscasters were like, nope, don't care. No one knows what that sport is. No one knows what it does. So the whole episode is him just frustratingly trying to tell them this is a big deal. Let's see here. Champ Wonder is my favorite international food. Okay, I'm a sucker for pho. The sodium levels are likely off the charts, but especially on a cold day or when you've been having a really hard week, a warm broth of pho mixed with some shrimp and rare steak, which the broth cooks, and some rice noodles, it is delicious and a shot to the spirit. Let's see here. Since I know what Digimon is, asks Zed Millenniumon, who's my favorite? That would be Vmon. Now, granted, a good part of that is that blue is my favorite color, and dragons are one of my favorite mythical creatures. I mean, Vmon is just the complete package, but he's also just a lot of fun. He's also Daisuke Davis was my favorite of the 02 cast. So energetic and friendly. Then he got dumped on a lot, and honestly, by both the fandom and the cartoon anime, I didn't always feel like that was deserved. Thaddeus, have I ever had fried spider? Oh, I can't say I have, but you know, you could always check it up on the web. But fried spider? I hesitate to think about what the spider would be. It's quite terrifying, in fact. French toast or normal toast, champ? Okay, I'm gonna say French toast. Oh, although I admit, sometimes just toasting like a baguette or French bread. Making me choose now. Actually, you're also making me a little bit hungry. Thanks. But yeah, French toast is its own delight. In fact, next time I get together with a friend for breakfast or brunch, I may go with the French toast just for that. Although, for some reason, all I'm thinking of right now is Metalocalypse. And a scene where Pickle was trying to record his drum for the next album, and he's really going, yeah, just pouring his heart out. Everyone, and then he looks in at the recording studio, and everyone on the other side is having French toast for just a snack and taking it real easy. And Pickle is just furious at them. Are you eating French toast? All right, have a good night, Preston. We'll catch you later. How am I a cannibal for eating toast, Thaddeus? Let's see here. Yes, Kevin, I remember the end of the Digimon movie. Willis gets to kiss both female heroines, and Davis is having none of that. All right, take care, Gojalan. I will catch you again. So here we go. Now we're getting into the Pinkie Pie. Wait, did I say sugar pie? I mean sugar bell. Yes, Enderpup. I still have the Silver-Quill plushie. I still have Silver Quilted. I even have, well, okay, they aren't customs, but I did buy some Main 6 plush. Although, oh, I had a fright last week. I think Starry Flame made a Silver-Quill custom, a Clutterstep custom plush, and gave it to me at BronyCon one year. It was delightful. But for one reason or another, I never had line of sight with his eyes when I went to bed. Never saw it. So one night I look over and there are these 2 green orbs glowing in the dark. And instantly I'm thinking to, well, basically every paranormal activity. And I reach over and turn on the light to see what am I looking at? It turns out that his eyes do glow green in the dark. I don't know what material they're made from, but holy crud, I was freaking there for a minute. Then I kind of felt like, I gotta give Starry credit. She trolled me not only long distance, but through space and time. I was just like, wah! You like that story, Trinaria? I'll tell you another. This is from, oh man, how many years ago? Well, before Bronydom. My parents were out of town, and I was going to check on their home really late at night. I mean, no one was home. I was just I think it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. But I just want to make sure everything was the way it should be. What I didn't know is that a friend of the family had decided to spend the night there. And she had parked her car in the garage. So no sign that anyone was there. So I'm upstairs just checking to make sure all the lights are off and everything's the way it should. Coming down the hallway, and all of a sudden this friend of the family comes out in this nightgown that is glowing in the reflected moonlight. It is a light, and I just see this form, this white glowing form, come out of the dark on my left. I think she shaved off 5 years from my life in that moment. I'm pretty sure the neighbors down the street heard it too. So, sadly that friend of our family is no longer with us, but I will always have that moment of absolute ah! That is, if I did die, I'm a ghost talking to you all right now. Oh God, if this were a Shyamalan movie, that'd be the twist. You know what? I might actually keep that sound effect for real. It actually proved worthwhile. Oh, so that's a good memory. I mentioned I started this year started with a lot of loss of a friend, a loss of our family golden retriever, and here I am talking about a friend who's been departed for several years. You miss the people, but you don't stop loving the memories, and I take some comfort in that. Anyway, I'm getting all super serial. Let's see here. Lock it loading. I am always a card. I'm definitely not the ace, though. Perhaps I'm more the Joker. Now we got Pinkie looking all evil for a minute there. Let's see here. Don't think I need that for now. Ender, your sister's off away to college, so you're calling dibs on the TV? But I guess it's like, oh, well, have fun, sis. Have fun at college. I call dibs on your stuff. I feel like there's a bit of a double take there. Okay, Helsing, that's a good one. Although you're quoting Jay Leno, is that a cheat? The joke is that a Canadian psychologist is charging for a video to test your dog's IQ. If you pay that much, then your dog is definitely smarter than you. Champ Stay is wondering about Freddy's progression. Here's the thing. When Freddy was the head of the team, how do I put this? He was pretty boring. He was the serious, the go-getter. He was also kind of a jerk in my eyes. Because every single time it was, Scooby and Shaggy, you go and take all the risks. I'll be over here with the ladies. After a while, you realize Freddy's kind of a jerk. So, in more recent Scooby-Doos, they've really played up a hapless Freddy, a bit clueless. I think it really started with a pup named Scooby-Doo, where Freddy was not a leader, he was a bit of a doofus. And I think that was more endearing. It kept people going. So now Freddy, like, what was it? Was it Mysteries Inc.? He actually had a romantic fixation with traps. He loved traps. He subscribed to Traps Monthly, and Daphne treated it as if he were subscribed to a naughty magazine. And other ones, what was it? Oh yes, the 13th Ghost. Freddy went away to cheer camp for a summer, but he didn't want to admit it. I guess when you really get down to it, a lot of Freddy's presentations have tried to undermine that alpha male leadership that was kind of a given in the original Scooby-Doo. They want to make him something a bit quirkier instead. Yes, Trinary, he was wearing an ascot and back in the day, and, well, as he was such a jerk, he might have put the ass in ascot. Nick W., have I seen the Elements of Harmony? I'm a little confused because I don't think you're referring to the Elements of Harmony as in the show. Is there a special YouTube video about him? Let's see here. A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, another Saturday morning cartoon I remember. I can't say I was, like, super fond of it, but I watched it and enjoyed it. Of course, I always loved... Saturday morning cartoons had its own life. It's like, after... Give it enough time, I'd map out my morning. I'd say... You know, okay, from this time to this... I'll watch the Fox Saturday morning. And over here, it's the ABC morning. And, oh, there are two shows I like, so I'll start the recorder on one channel and watch it the other upstairs. Oh, Elements of Justice, Nikki. The new Phoenix Wright crossover video. I have not seen that yet. Boy, ain't that a common answer for me. But, well, I remember watching the first Phoenix Wright Pony crossover. It was a bit dense for me. I was like, oh man, I can't keep all this straight in my head. I feel like I had to start taking notes, but that's what a Phoenix Wright case is often like, I think. I have not played the Phoenix Wright games. Well, you are correct, Locket Loading. Scooby-Doo does change and evolve with, well, honestly, with America in many ways. I think it's because it was such a simple premise and, well, taking it back to Eddie Izzard saying it may be one of our greater creative works of American culture. It's something that endures because it is a very simple premise that can be adapted over time. You can have Freddy and Daphne and Velma take on different roles, but Scooby and Shaggy are almost unchanged through it all. They are the sympathetic cowards. And I don't mean that in derision. I mean that, you know, we kind of identify. Some monster is chasing me. I don't care if it's a guy in a mask. I'm running away because someone is physically chasing me. Drinking Buddy, good to see you. Yep, I haven't seen much Dexter's Lab either. It's kind of funny. I mean, it was such a big thing for a while. Thaddeus, an interesting point. The best shows were designed to fail. But, well, okay, I don't really know what Surf's Up refers to. But, I don't know. I'm trying to think. What is a show you think was designed to fail that became a classic? Or do you mean that a show basically is designed without fear of failure? Because, like, Animaniacs, great show, much beloved. It was basically giving the creative staff carte blanche to just go wild. And it worked really well. Maybe if you don't have the fear of failure, or you're just like, hey, whatever happens, happens, you have the chance to go further. What? Oh, Darren Root, how would I disrespect Megas? I thought Megas was wonderful. It got, what, 2 seasons and just love the comedy. It's sort of the opposite of Gundam. In fact, dare I say, Megas XLR was one of the greatest American robot shows you're ever going to see. Why did they never make a Megas XLR movie, I wonder? Then again, take that budget and give Symbionic Titan a decent ending, please. Let's see here. Favorite songs from any cartoon? Oh, champ, there are several, but the theme of Wheeled Warriors always holds a special place in my heart. I mean, that was quintessential 80s energy. You heard that and you got pumped. So do a search for Wheeled Warriors theme song and you'll know what I mean. Let's see here. Cartoon Network seem to undermine a lot of their own series. That's true. Well, Trinary, the thing with Cartoon Network is that for a time they were still judging everything by merchandise sales. Symbionic Titan did not do well in marketing of toys. And as a result, it didn't really endear itself. Now, I feel like that philosophy has changed. But yeah, the Cartoon Network judged Symbionic Titan by the wrong metrics. just Pinkie's delusions are so powerful, they just suddenly are. It's not even a scene change, it's just they are. Enderpup, you like the Clone Wars theme? It is catchy, but I liked the themes. I feel like I'm watching the Bad Batch from Star Wars, and it's just, and I was thinking on like the Voltron, the most recent Voltron had no lyrics. It was just a very quick introduction. Now the original Voltron was mostly this thoroughly epic music, right up there with Wheeled Warriors. But it did have the narration from, of all people, Optimus Prime's voice actor, so it's guaranteed epic. Opinions on... Oh, Champ, you're gonna hit all the cuteness buttons. Opinion on Otters. I don't know if you guys know, here on YouTube, there is a thriving pet sea otter community. In Japan and other countries in that region. I think otters actually make for good, kind of like, well, they're house pets, somewhat in the same spirit as a cat. And I see these things, and oh, they're adorable. Makes me want one, but then I'm like, no, I don't think that would work here in America. I don't think I wouldn't even know. But they're adorable. What is especially Kawasu? I believe that's the name. Kawasu is the first pets otter I saw, and the way it squeaks, greeting and chirps. It's a little less cute when it makes a demanding sound. But by and large, they're just too adorable. Now, being that this is a Dexter's Lab reference, I of course need a machine, a thingamabob, a whoosy-whatsits. In fact, I think I'll call it the Nucleotronic Whoosigamutsits in proper Pinkie terminology. But I have to design the blessed thing. If I were more interested in locomotives, Champ, I would probably give it more to steam engines. Mostly because they would have a steampunk aesthetic. Or at least I can envision as such. But I'm not as solid a fan of locomotives as others. Yes, Champ, spelling that will be... well, okay, my spell check, especially here on Illustrator, hates me no matter what. I mean, you try doing a spell check when you have words like every pony, equestria, ponification. Oh, this is great. Because Pinkie has this custom text, all this is written in lowercase. If I try capitalization, it looks really weird. So the grammar filter on my Illustrator hates me with a passion. Because not only do I do it wrong, but then I ignore its suggestions. I feel like there's probably a resentful subroutine in my program like, how dare you? How dare you defy me? You get an F, human. Glidehouse had the right idea, flesh bag. Kalja, I appreciate that you want to donate. I'm afraid, well, YouTube doesn't let you do that unless you have bought Super Chat, which I have not. There is a Ko-fi link or address listed at the top of the stream. You can go to that address if you'd like to support, and I greatly appreciate it. Now, I'm not trying to be too ambitious with this machine. But at the same time, it's got to look sufficiently what the hey. So let's see here. Let's try and get rid of this. Let's tighten this up a little. Very tight. No, I like the conical. Let's see here. Oh, Trinary, thank you. Got my back with the link. Let's see here. Ender Pup, a cake. Oh my God, Ender, you just came up with the next best invention. Why has no one tried to come up with a cake printer? Imagine for a moment if you just poured the ingredients, uploaded like a 3D printer model, and the computer made the cake. Would that not be the best thing ever? That would be the single greatest invention of modern science. You would get the Nobel Prize, and rightly so. No, Thaddeus, I'm sorry, the cake cannon is just it would actually be a step down from that. You see, instead of printing the cake, you would instead inflict gross bodily harm. No Nobel Peace Prize for you. Evangelion 007, I'm sorry if I've missed your comments, but I do see you. I do notice you. Then again, these days, whenever someone says senpai, I just think send pie. It's like I'm really hungry. Yeah, champ, that's a proper description. Mix a blender, an oven, and a 3D printer. Call it the cake printer and have at it. But if it could somehow miraculously print the icing as well, ooh-wee, that would be fantastic. Ariel Lowry, that would be the Nobel Prize for both food and technology. Then again, I don't know if there is a Nobel Prize for food, and if not, why not? I mean, I feel like that's sort of a given. I mean, come on. I believe Nobel was a guy who profited off dynamite. I forget if he was the inventor of dynamite. But basically, if you can get an award for blowing stuff up, I think you should get an award for making wonderful food. Inquisitor. A 3D cake printer only sounds stupid until you've tried it. But Fox? What? Well, it's good to see you, but you're kind of flooring me here. Thank you. But egads. Oh man, I'm suddenly unsure what I should say or do, other than say thank you. Yowza. So, as I try to recover from that wonderful display of generosity and be like, whoa. Actually, I'm feeling a bit inadequate right now. But, well, we just try to keep on keeping on. Alright, Jack Squat, let's see here. Well, Fox, thank you so much. And let's see here. Jack Squaw saying, yes, Nobel invented dynamite and then was so aghast at what his invention was used for that he invented the Nobel Prize to incentivize people into doing good for the whole world. You know, I had on a family trip, I had the pleasure of going through the Nobel Prize Museum. I mean, the official one. And see, it was after Barack Obama had been given the Peace Prize. So I got to see his display as well. But this might sound harsh because I like Obama. I felt like his presidency was one that didn't seem to suffer terrible scandal or a lot of the controversy that seems so commonplace. At the same time, the fact that he got elected, I don't feel that being elected was Nobel Prize material. It was perhaps a calling to him to do as much good as he could. But when he first got the prize after his election, I just thought, wait, that feels a little premature. So now I don't know. I haven't really gotten to hear a lot of what he's been doing. In some ways, I think he's been taking it a bit easy, which he's fully earned. One thing I always remark on the presidency is that you compare when someone entered the office to when they left. It ages you so much. The responsibility, the stress. I would never want that position. Might daydream, if I were president, things would be going perfect. No. I'm pretty sure the role would kill me. Champ, you mentioned it's Donut Day, which, well, I missed out. Honestly, a good old... Well, okay, there's a place where I live called Voodoo Donuts. And they have these elaborate recipes. But my default will always just be some good old icing and sprinkles. Icing and sprinkles are fantastic. Pardon me one sec, I just want to make sure, well, Twitchy Twitch is behaving the way it should. Okay, yeah. It's good. It's all good. That's Ariel, which pony do I think would be the best president? Well, honestly, a great president is often defined by an equally great cabinet, so the elements of harmony would probably work as a cabinet. But let's say individuals. Let's consider that a president has to be many things. A commander-in-chief, a counselor-in-chief, a source of moral authority, but also embodying and honoring the law. What pony could best represent that? I mean, there are a lot who fill one of those roles wonderfully. But who would be the best for all three? And I'm going to add the condition that I don't just simply say, just don't say, oh, Twilight. You know who I would actually be kind of curious for? Brayburn. He is not the smartest. He is not the strongest. But he seems to actually have a good head on his shoulders. The Troubleshoes episode aside, that was quite the blemish for him. But by and large, he shows a lot of community spirit, willingness to hear other sides. He actually was more positive than anything. He might actually make a great president. And one of the funny things that I read about is cultural complexes. America has a certain infatuation with the cowboy image, so much so that a lot of several presidents in our history, both Democrat and Republican, have played up their status as a frontiersman, even if they just happen to own a ranch that they never visited, or in Reagan's case, he played a cowboy, and he played into that, even though it was just pretend. But we bank on that. So Brayburn, of all things, might even play into that idea. Nikki W. Brayburn is Applejack's cousin from Appaloosa. He's been in a few episodes, but never a truly central figure. Ah, yes, Teddy Roosevelt. I don't believe he ever really owned a ranch, but he played up his frontiersmanship, but he was never just a cowboy. But let's see. Evangelion 007, yes, I guess Sunset would make a great president. Honestly, I could see her actually becoming that in Equestria Girls. That would be something. But I guess I just didn't want. I wanted to challenge myself to something other than the lead characters. Although I did only say the main 6, which does not rule out Sunset or Starlight or Spike. Although Spike would be a great cabinet member. Don't think he would be a great president, but he wouldn't seek it either. Oh, now, well, here's the thing, Thaddeus. You say Starlight would be an amazing president. She might be, but she'd need a lot of guidance. The presidency requires a lot of flexibility and wearing of many hats. Starlight is very smart and driven and a great speaker, as she demonstrated in To Change a Changeling. But she also has to, how should I say, honor social cues and, how should I put it? Basically, she has to pick up on a lot of the subtleties, and she tends to steamroll that. It's been one of her recurring hurdles throughout the series. She would need someone, even like Trixie, to give her a sharp nudge on the do's and don'ts. Disco. Pokemon Fire Eevee. Discord for president. Oh boy. That would be interesting to see, to be sure. But to be honest, I actually made a joke about that in one of my Equestria Girls reviews. I had him as the president, and when the Siren threat arose, I had him nuke Canterlot High. Meanwhile, my character was a military advisor. I like the cut of your jib, Mr. President. Diamond Tiara, Evangelion 007. Well, honestly, I really, really wish we could have seen more of her post-Reformation. Here's the thing. In some ways, I could totally see Diamond Tiara becoming the next mayor of Ponyville, and she might make a great president. Again, we didn't get to see enough of her post-Reformation. At the same time, I could also see her taking on a role where she chooses to endorse a mayoral candidate, and thus is somewhat the power behind the throne. There's the thought that leaders come and go, but advisors are forever. Which is a scary thought. There we go. I believe this is sufficiently techie enough. To look like something out of Dexter's lab, but not too much. I'm going to say yes, Trinary, even though I haven't seen Yes Minister. I think I've actually seen clips of it, but oh, gosh darn if I'm always finding out about a show I need to catch. I mean, there's Hamilton, there's A Good Place, there's Helloboss, probably a couple bajillion other things. Let's see, I'm just going to make this a bit more conical so I can squeeze in more to the frame. There we go. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Trinary. First thing is Hamilton. You're so kind to have gifted me those DVDs. I want to make good on that. But Sweetie Bloom is way more frightening when you don't watch the show she recommends. So, yeah, that's got to get priority. Pokemon Fire Eevee. Oh, wow. It's already 7:45 where I am. Oh, and I've apparently pissed off Enterpup. It's hell of a boss. Not hello. Hell of a. Hell of a. Let's see here. In answer to the question, Pokemon Fire Eevee, the Thermotronic Kuchimawatsit is meant to infuse flavor into a single apple. With science, it will overload the flavor to maximum scrumptiousness. This is something I could totally envision Pinkie creating. Oh, Grimwolf, you propose an interesting idea, but here's my concern. If I just streamed where I watched a show with some friends, how should I put this? One, I'm pretty sure copyright would be quite the hassle with that one. I'd have all my streams taken down and strikes against my channel before you could even, you could blink. Whoops. But also, I feel like I can't just passively watch something. I need to be making something. That's why I'm doing this right now. I need to make. Be it in art or just streaming things up. Honestly, I can't watch a show without also coming up with a story to it. Like instant fanfic writer. Well, I made Sugar Bell look a little wiggy earlier. Now she's a little ditzy. Have I heard of the Pokemon Nuzlocke? I have heard of that, but I forget what a Nuzlocke is. Let's see here. First off, a question from Seth Moths. How much of a tragedy of Dark Plagueis do you think is true? Well, let's see here. I think that Palpatine did poison his master. I mean, that's just classic Palpatine. Now, from what I gather from the movie, the implication is that he said about the birth of Anakin. He could manipulate the midichlorians to create life. Which, geez. Thankfully, I think that was the last time midichlorians were ever mentioned. I think most of that is true. I don't know about whether or not he could unlock immortality. I have also heard from the expanded universe that Darth Plagueis actually survived that assassination attempt and worked in the background, but I don't know that part. I mean, that's just throwing another Sith into the mix, which really undermines the whole Rule of Two concept. We already had Darth Maul playing havoc with that. So, I think the death, I think the manipulation. But if he knew the secret to immortality, I don't think Palpatine would have bothered with clones. Alrighty. Let's see here. Then there was a question from Champ to Stay. Have I ever seen Pink Panther cartoons? Yes. I remember them quite fondly when I was a kid. I can't say they really stood out as like the pinnacle, but that cool music sticks in your head. Da dun 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 da 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 da. Boom boom boom. Oh dear, I'm gonna keep going. Here, you can make another clip of that, Frosty. Full clippage. Let's see here. A Nuzlocke is where you can only catch the first Pokemon on a route, and when your Pokemon faints, it's dead. It's gone for... Oh my gosh, Prism, that sounds really hard. Not to mention quite the luck of the draw in terms of who you fight. Wait a minute, I had Pokemon faint all the time from poison. It was like early on in the game, so I could never, like, I couldn't administer an antidote. That sounds like it would kill my entire team. Ooh, I'm not sure I like that rule at all. Okay, Crystal 20. You give Silver-Quill nuclear weapons with a red button and the word do not touch. You are just tempting fate there. Sorry, but you doomed the world with that one. It's like Ren and Stimpy with the universal deletion button. The shiny button. How long can you hold out against the button? See here. Who's better, Sunset or Starlight? Asks Battleship Agincourt. Now, wow, way to start a flame war. How shall I put this? I am more a fan of Sunset, as, well, in my eyes, she was out first, and I cheered for her reformation, whereas Starlight's was a longer arc. She had the greater benefit of time. That is not to say that Starlight is a bad character. It's just that based on, well, even order of introduction and familiarity, I became a Sunset fan first. Now, if you're asking me to say who's objectively better, I'll tell you there's no such thing as objectivity when it comes to entertainment. I actually kind of resent it when people try to argue that something is objectively bad. You can list multitude of reasons why you think it's not good. But in the end, I think you're still voicing something that is subjective. All right, let's see here. Battleship Agincourt also asks about, is Ray a Mary Sue character? This is one of the hard things to talk about because Mary Sue is a term widely thrown about without much of a clear definition. In my eyes, a Mary Sue character is more a critique that the audience is not feeling a connection with that character, far more than if they are overpowered in some respects. Based on a talk with Anthony C., down the line, I would like to compare Ray to Nausicaa from Valley of the Wind, because there were some surprising similarities when I was introduced to both of them. Yeah, I feel weird when this silence. Let's get a little music going again. The thing that I find they share a lot in common, but here's the key difference. I think the reason people have a hard time connecting with Ray is that the further away she got from the familiar territory, in this case her life on Jakku, the stronger she got. She suddenly knew how to pilot ships, and she could wield the Force without any training. And she could defeat more experienced combatants with a sword, even though she'd never been trained. Instead of seeing her struggle with meeting the larger world, she seemed to master it right away. And one of the big things is you want to feel like you've been on a journey with that character. You've seen them grow, and you've grown with them. And because we don't get to experience that with Ray, she loses a good chunk of the audience. Also, greeting Rustic Rails. Thanks for coming by. Champ, I'm very happy with this soundboard. I'm pleased that almost every sound effect has come into play and been very helpful. I'm pleased that it hasn't caused feedback or hampered anything. I still must figure out if it can work with, say, a Discord call. Can I get it to where I can hear myself and the other person, and we're not getting feedback for you guys? Tony, let's see. Tony Stark is wondering, what is your favorite subject, like creative or time or love or computer? In a very general sense, Tony, I just like storytelling in general. The thematics behind it, the techniques of effective storytelling. Normally, I enjoy the expression through science fiction and fantasy, but if it's just a really good story with really likable people, it'll hook me. Also, I will say, Tony, one of the reasons I didn't answer your questions right away, there are folks who tag me, and that shows up as a highlight to say, hey, this person's talking to you. Ah, no wonder. You tagged me, but there's only one L in your quill. That's why it wasn't highlighted. So, that's why I missed out. Sorry. What? Okay, Crystal Delight, wondering, what would you do if you found a UFO? A, take it for a joyride. B, destroy it. C, take over the world with it. Well, here's the funny thing. First, I would take it for a joyride because it's a spaceship. Why wouldn't I? But the thing is, that is a prelude to either destroying it, i.e. it's too dangerous, or conquering the world. Hey, I could use this thing. And yes, I'm not going to rule out world domination. But then again, I also said being president would stress me to the point of expiration. I don't know if world dominator would be any less stressful. Honestly, maybe the smarter thing to do would be to use it to create the illusion of a threat. Because if anything's going to get everybody to get along, it's the concept of a shared adversary. So maybe I could fake it and let everyone else try to get along. William Guinness, did you try Warframe yet? I have played Warframe. I didn't get too far into it. I found that visually, I was kind of thrown off by the mixture of both insectoid and flower dynamics. It was innovative as a look, but it didn't really grab me as much as other games. So, and as it's online, I usually just like to play with a friend, including a bud from high school. And I feel very honored and privileged for that. How many people can say they are playing an online game with a friend from high school these days? Music could be turned down a little, Thaddeus. Okay, yeah, this song is a bit more enthusiastic, and I'm okay. This is something I have to work on. I was turning down the sound effects volume and not the computer. Sifisky. No, I did not. I'm looking back. I don't see your question right off the bat. I'm afraid I missed it. Oh, wait, here we go. Who's your favorite villain from any kind of media? Light Yagami from Death Note. Here's the thing. In many ways, he is the protagonist of that story. But he is a villain. He is looking to destroy the world and destroy the current system and reshape it in his image. That is, in my eyes, a very villainous act, and the way he goes about it is exceptionally villainous. But he really challenges the audience on our assumptions about morality. I just joked about trying to use a UFO to fake conquering the world. But if you had access to something fantastic, a power and an anonymity that leave you completely unchecked, what would you do with it? I think we'd all be a little stunned and maybe scared by how we'd behave under that temptation. And I appreciate what Light did to challenge that assumption. You're given a notebook that can kill anyone. And you all think, oh, well, killing is wrong. But then there's that great line from Light. You start looking around and you start to realize there are lots of people who need to die. And you're like, wow, that's a terrible thought, but would I feel the same way? And a big part of Death Note is that, well, people started rooting for him. They agreed with him. Okay. Look at loading. How have I and the TF2 gang been? Well, we're all, as far as I know, we're all doing well. I'm not involved in that project directly, but I'm still in touch with a lot of the folks. Again, there are other folks with whom I haven't gotten to catch up with in a while. I should check in and see how Finn is doing. Let's see here. Rustic Rails, I'm better on the sound, and yes, I do plan on going to Everfree Northwest this year. I believe they're still going to make an announcement about how they're going to proceed, so I'm waiting on that, but I've got ideas. Fun, maybe terrible ideas. Let's see here. And then, Synchree. How was my interview with Imalu? It went very, very well. I had a lot of fun. She had such great answers and insights and a discussion about things. So I thought it was a fantastic time. BabsCon is, well, currently catching their breath after quite the weekend. But I am hopeful that they will post a recording on their channel of the interview. So if people missed out, they can catch it again. Here we go. Don't save. There we go. Apple. Bigger apple. Oh, let's see here. Now this music's a little quieter, so I'm going to give it just a little bit of a boost. Look and care. I'm afraid you're joining us at the tail end. There are reasons abound, but hopefully I'll be posting this comic on my DeviantArt later tonight, and you'll know all the reasoning. And let's see here. But it's going well, Dark Horse of KC. Let's see, oh, and Snowy Motorcycle. Good to see you over there. Blue Griffin, an interesting point comparing Light of Death Note to Shakespeare's Macbeth. And let's see here. I've missed a few questions over on Twitch, so let me correct that now. Seth Moss, how much of the tragedy of Siddharth Plagueis do I think is true? Even the part about Plagueis having people he cared about. You know, the funny thing is the dark side doesn't preclude you caring about someone, but it twists that love. You no longer want what's best for them, you try to control them, which is not love, it's ownership. That's a lot of what undid Anakin, and there was in the Clone Wars there was another character, relative of Maul, who started caring for his brother, but in time came to resent his brother's weakness. That's the thing. You can the tragedy often of the dark side is that it offers unchecked freedom, kind of like a Death Note. You know, the creed is the Force will set me free. But with that freedom comes selfishness. with that freedom comes a very egocentric way of handling things. And therefore, in some ways, instead of granting you real freedom or healthy development, it undermines you. It turns you against the will of others. And there's no balance. Jedi, there are plenty of critiques for how the Jedi conducted themselves, for how easily they were duped, for how out of touch they became. But they at least went against the ego. They emphasized a life of giving, of sacrifice to others. It was a hard life, but it was one that actually benefited the galaxy as a whole. The problem is that I think they took this removal, this disconnect, this denial of connections too far. So much so that they fell out of touch with the very people they were trying to protect and serve. And by losing touch, they failed to recognize what was changing the galaxy, leaving them vulnerable. And that's why they lost out. Dark Horse KC, well, people will say you'd be a Sith, but that's mostly in a joking way. Here's the thing. Everyone listening to this chat, and myself, at some point we would all be tempted by the dark side. We'd all be, well, swayed or just enticed by the idea of living a life without restrictions. But hopefully, part of service is that you get to see the benefit of a life lived for others, not just a life spent in selfish pursuit. Jack Squat, as far as I know, PonyCons are still online, but I think at the tail end of this year, or at least the fall, we're hoping to fix that. We're hoping to change that back. Now, Hellsing Ghost, the first anime I ever watched. Honestly, I think you could count Transformers, but then, if not Transformers, which was produced in Japan, it would be Voltron, Defender of the Universe. That's the earliest one I can remember, though there might have been some others. I have vague recollections. Let's see here. Just seeing Snowy Motorcycle, good to see you. My day's been good. This has been a very good stream. I appreciate folks hanging with me as I get just go a little bit later than my usual cutoff time. I just want to show what I'm concocting. Squiggly line. I'm also pleased with how my stylus has served me this evening. So, I think the tech has been more or less a success. It's just a question of, can I harmonize this with Discord? Ah, Dark Horse, you've got a voice recording. So, I wish you good fortune. Have a good night. Wait. Drinking buddy. You lectured Sweetie Bloom about going to bed. What caused this role reversal? I must know. I must have this in my arsenal the next time she gets mad at me for not watching Hamilton. Let's see here. Favorite Weird Al pony parody? Asks Champ to Stay. Favorite Weird Al parody? I think either Christmas at Ground Zero or Jurassic Park. Thoroughly enjoyed both of them. And let's see here. My favorite skit in Animaniacs, classic or reboot. I think it's with the teacher, with the tutor, saying, how did it go? I'll conjugate with you. Good night, everybody. That's what I mean, like, you can say and do things that back then you couldn't get away with now. Not a chance. Let's see here. Ah! Oh no, what did I do there? Huh. What is this unseen... Unseen apples is what I'm dealing with. Okay, whoop. Let's see here. Tyandaga, just stop being busy? I'm not sure I can. I don't know if I can, Nikki. Let's see here. All right, I'm just gonna show this one other thing I'm doing. I'm gonna take this. Goal here is to create a compound shape that I can blend to make an effect, but it's a bit more complicated than I wanted. Actually, maybe you know what? The comic will reveal my trickery. Especially as I'm getting the Pinwheel of Doom now. That might be my computer saying, let these people go do other things. Ah, here we go. Drink, but I will spill the beans with Drinking Buddy. All right, your new job has you up till 3 a.m. in your time zone. So that means it's 1 a.m. where Sweetie is. So if you see her awake and responding to messages, you get to yell at her to go to bed. Okay, I'm afraid you've got an advantage over me in that case. I am usually in bed by then. And if I am up that late, I'm not responding to messages. So, well done. You have used the situation in ways I could not have anticipated. Many mad props to you. Well, actually, that does look kind of cool. But there'll be other... I'm going to experiment with this a little. Guys, thank you for hanging with me this evening, for seeing me try out this new system, which even allows me to fade things out, which is quite nice. And you've stuck with me through the hardest parts of this comic. I've got just a few more panels to do before I have Pinkie wish everyone a good night. But I'm going to do that myself right now. Sorry, I haven't answered everyone's questions. Like Jack Swat, I see you putting a question out there, but I need to call it good. So I'll try to keep that in mind for next time. Or come on back and ask the question again. You'd be most welcome. Everyone, thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for talking. I hope you have just a wonderful weekend and can take it easy. Have a good night. I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.